What are you selling?
I just want to tell you about our Lord Jesus Savior. What's up, Keio?
What up, dude? How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Welcome to
All right.
the shithole, as they call it.
The shithole. That's the official name. Trademark.
Yeah, trademark of the place here, man.
If we need credits on the record,
Yeah.
drums by Keio Stroud.
Yes.
Recorded at Shithole Studios.
Shithole Studios, yes. That's it. Here we are. This is fun. This is, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but this is kind of my dream situation. I live in a quote-unquote town home, is what they call these.
Yeah.
Not apartments. But I can still play drums in here because my neighbors and I only share 3 feet of a wall. And so we have different foundation.
Okay.
So yeah, so they, strangely enough, cannot hear the drums.
That's great.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if I'm playing it here, yes, but like where we're going,
Where we're going
is that's a deal. But which is really really kind of cool. A couple of weird, fun, non-drumming things that I think are kind of cool. Are the 2 Civil War era newspapers that I have here. 1863.
Wow.
Price
Okay.
2 cents.
Okay.
I have a nice painting by Jeff Brown, as you all know, drummer Jeff Brown.
Yes. Wow, I didn't know that.
And then another, I forget what year this one is.
And where'd you get
63.
these?
You know, I got a Big and Rich fan gave them to me. He needed a love history. So, I've never gotten them appraised to see how much they're worth.
That's cool.
But they might be the most expensive things that have them.
I don't know, man. As Jeff Brown becomes more famous.
I know. There's another one behind you, Jeff Brown special behind you there.
We are going to be going to Jeff Brown's place
So
soon enough. If he just lived closer to me, that'd be great.
yeah.
But it's also probably good because I'd probably end up drinking way too much whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny story. Guitar by Johnny Rab. He gave me that. Just really goofy. That, and then I have the Seth Meyers.
That's
stuff.
right.
So when I did that, yeah, it's kind of cool. Kind of weird, but cool.
That should be framed, man.
I should. Right now it's framed on my floor behind.
So when did you do the Seth Meyers gig?
22.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
22 or 23. They may have 23. But yeah, it was fun. Also weird McHugh kick drum head. Big pawpaw. This is
I love that.
This is actually funny because this was inspired. I made this, and it was inspired by Andy Zildjian. For whatever reason, I saw Andy one day. I was like, "If you were a Care Bear, you would look like this." So interesting. Since we're kind of doing a thing here. So these cymbals kind of go in and out. These are some fun prototypes that I got to make when I went to the Sabian factory. And then I have this cool Steve Ferroni snare drum here that I love. One of my favorite things to do when I'm not in the room here is I'll bring my throne out here if I don't have the other one, and I just play brushes.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a nice therapy thing, as you can see by all the darkness there on that deal. But there's that.
And it works a different muscle.
Yeah, my brain.
Feeling
wise, my brain. And sometimes if I'm tracking something and it's like, a little difficult, like there's a weird bar or something, I'll play the track that's going on here, and then I'll come here with the brushes and just fill it out, and then immediately go in and play it, as opposed to like writing out a chart, because sometimes that's just like whatever. I got one song to do. It's gonna take me an hour to do it. I can learn the song, or at least I don't have to learn a drum part. Just learn the structure of the song, and just move on.
It's 3.5 minutes of your life. You could remember that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And so sometimes helping with that, just come in and I'll just do that. I mean, keep doing this, but I'll just use a brush just to kind of do that, and I have a couple cymbals here just to kind of whatever. Got the old Magic Tambourine. As most people know, I love this thing. It's better than the Cajon. I'll show you. This is my kitchen, which is kind of fun. But in my kitchen, we have, because I don't have a whole lot of storage in this place, I have a 22 by 11 Pearl Masters gum kick drum, 12, 16 gum kick drums, or toms here. I painted these. They're very nice to let me paint them.
Yeah, no, I like the color. That's really nice. That's cool.
Then we have the acrylic concert toms. There's This kit is actually at the PAS Museum, but I have a 13, 14, and an 18 that are extras because we were going to do a second kit, didn't do it. And then the fun part, second fun part, Hughesonburg made me this nice, beautiful snare case. So when I'm not using Drum Paradise for cartage, I can take 4 snare drums in here, which is really nice. I'm not sure what's in there right now. If anything's in there, probably nothing. But the real fun part is this. So this is the first snare drum my dad gave me in like 1984, which is like really weird. So we're going on 40 years, me and this drum house.
That's amazing, man.
Oh God, I'm old. But yeah,
got it when you were 1.
So this is the 70s. Obviously, I've had it forever. And when I was a kid, I had no idea, but I put some tube lugs on it. I'm missing a lug. Die-cast tubes. Updated some stuff because I do love the sound of this drum, and it's a steel drum. It's not the brass, the beloved Jupiter everybody loves, but it's in that same family. But then this one is a 6.5 by 14. And I was lucky enough, Eddie Bears gave me this, which is really nice.
Yeah.
He was like, he and I have a love for these snare drums. These come over brass, or, the Jupiter it's kind of weird. So Pearl had 2 snare drums. There's like the chrome over brass in the 70s that people love, like James Gadsden, Eddie Bears, those guys. And then there was the Jupiter, which is the same drum, but it has a super sensitive on it.
Okay.
Which is what this
mechanism that whole system.
Yeah. That's what this mechanism is right here. Is that, which came off as super sensitive that Lester bought, and he just wanted to put normal throw off on it.
Yeah.
But I still have this, so it's gonna go away
it's
soon.
There.
Yeah, drumsticks, blah 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 blah.
All the things.
All the things. My friend Kim made that, but I thought it was very sweet. Welcome to the dark side of my life here.
Do you have a name for your studios?
I don't.
No? Okay, some people do, some people don't.
I never did it. Only because it's kind of goofy. I mean, like, it's I don't know. Yeah, there's no. It's just my place.
Not a prerequisite.
Just Keio's place.
Yeah. There you go.
But this is fun. So at the moment there is and I know it's dark in here, but at the moment there's a Pearl reference kit, and this kit's very interesting because it doesn't have the reference lugs. It has the Masters bridge lugs on it. If you can see that. Because they have the same hole spacing. This kit was a wrap, and I was talking about Eddie. Eddie told me that Hagi from Yamaha many years ago, like the master dude, he said, what you need to do is get a drum, put some kind of finish on it. No wrap, no paint job. Just stain the drum, basically, right? Play them, and then let them sit for a year. Play them again, and the drums will mature. They'll sound better.
Wow. Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. So they basically play them, let them sit, play them, let them sit. And it's like, basically it's the same ideal of like an old violin or an old whatever that's been played to death and then sits in someone's attic for 30 years, and you pull it out and you're like, whoa, this thing sounds amazing. So it's kind of that thing. So the with it not having a finish on it, it's not constricted, because wood does a weird thing with weather and all that shit, But 13 by 9, 16 by 14, 24 by 12 is the
24 by 12.
Yeah. Is the jam. And then the snare drum that's up is a 16 by 4.5.
16 by 4.5.
Which is EMAD. That thing is like, that's your fat snare drum there.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. All right, lots of questions. Lots of questions on the kit. So we've gotten to the kit so far, and we're switching out snares and cymbals and different things like that. But what's the snare? It's 16, 4 by 16?
4.5 by 16.
4.5 by 16. What's the model of that?
I made it. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I should say that. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
I built it myself.
That's okay. Cool.
I had this idea. It sounds like really goofy, but it does work. So basically, I got a call to go out and sub for Cody Johnson, and his drummer Miles is a fantastic drummer. He plays 3 snare drums. He plays main snare drum, 10-inch, and then he plays a fat snare drum, tune low. And one of the things I learned, or I said learned, one thing that I noticed when I went to shows and I saw more people using fat snare drums, is they would take a 14 by 8 or 14 by whatever, tune it low, put a big fat snare drum on it, which works. You know, so it totally does the thing. But is the pitch actually lower when you hear it? Is it when they're striking the drum, because the way they're striking the drum, the pitch isn't actually lower. Sometimes you get like the initial pitch can be higher. So I was like, so how do we fix this? And I was like, oh well, like basically low end comes from circumference, right? You know, 10-inch tom. If you have a 10-inch tom by 4 and you hit it, it does a thing, right? And then as the drum gets bigger, it stays 4, the sound gets lower. The pitch gets lower. So 16 by 4, so I get a low pitch, shallow drum. Most people only use, like, a lot of people will use one snare drum mic or one mic on the snare drum, sort of auxiliary drums. So you don't really get the bottom in, so you don't hear like the right? So the 4 is where I went. So I went with a 4, and you line the snares up with the mic, and then where you get the flow in from the circumference, and then you get the buzz from that. So because it's right there, and basically, I mean, I have 2 mics on here, but if I was playing live and that was like the only side thing,
right,
I would just have it pointing towards the shell. Yeah. And so you get a whole thing, and it's like, I mean, I know.
Even in Cody Johnson's camp, was it one mic?
Yeah.
And that's pro. That's top of the line. So let alone.
So this. I mean, it's just that.
Yeah.
It's got great snare response. You know, and then this shallow kick drum.
Oh, that sounds great.
It's got everything, you know, normal toms. But yeah, that was the reason, and even the side stick is good too, you know.
Okay.
The EMAD head, obviously, because it kind of does a low end thing, coming from the bass drum world.
Well, you don't have to worry about anything flying off the top of the head.
Nothing flies off the top of the head, and it's a very like niche drum. Like the way it's tuned, like it sounds great cranked up. Like I have another one that's cranked up because why not, right? And it sounds killer. And I made 2 for Miles McPherson. His are 5s. He has 16 by 5s. Okay. So if you ever see him, and his has wood hoops on them. Oh, nice. And they're mahogany. I made mine first. He saw it and was like, I want one. So I made 2 for him, 1 for Lester. I made 1 for somebody else. So, okay. but and I get, you know, and Drum Supply helps me out with the parts, and sometimes with drilling. Sometimes I do it myself. Depends on if I want to like get stuff in the kitchen or not. But yeah. So there's that. Sabian cymbals, big Sabian fan.
Sure. What's the hi-hats, man? Those are cool.
These are the Monarch. I think that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So this is a recommendation from Stanky from McHugh. I think McHugh uses either these or the Apollo hats because, you know, hi-hats get into everything, and this room is small, as you know. It's like this tiny room. And hi-hats get into everything, so they're kind of dull sounding. There's not a whole lot of top end, which is great. So that even if they do bleed into everything, they're not just like, they're not taking over. Especially the overheads and snare drum mic, it just kind of blends in, and especially when you're playing a, you know, lower snare drum or whatever. And if you need high end, you just add it to the mic. You know, it's easier to add high end later than to try to take high end out of everything. I see. If that makes any sense. Like if the hi-hats are like brittle and it's everywhere. Same thing with China cymbals. Like I have this.
Well, then you're taking the high end out of everything.
Exactly. Like I have this stupid China. I say stupid. It's my favorite, but so Sabian has been very nice and very good, and they're a big part of my sound, so to speak, because they let me be an idiot and go, hey guys, I want to have a China cymbal with holes in it and no bell.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is based off the Gia cymbal that John Blackwell did, except for it's a little thicker and there's holes in it to dry it out, and it is very fast. So recording here at home, it's actually really nice, and it's funny because I'm back to the China cymbal, and it's not gonna blow your head off. And don't put it like that. I saw somebody.
Oh right.
I saw somebody put a holy China on. I was like, that's not the way it goes. But this cymbal is really cool.
Very dry.
Like you're in this room with me, and it's like it's super pleasant, and it goes very well, especially in the room. So same vibe. This ride cymbal we made when I got to go to the factory, which is kind of goofy.
Nice, man.
So 23
Okay.
is what this is. Very pleasant also. The hi-hats once again.
So the hi-hats are fitting this room and the recording.
Yes.
The ride cymbal, does it change much?
The ride cymbal will change. This one goes up every now and then. The one I've been using the most is where is it at? The Legacy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I use this one a lot. It's a really good one. When I'm really having to do like really dry things, this one they made for me here, which goes with that.
Nice.
Very, very dry. It's like kind of like, remember the Leopard ride?
Yep.
Or like an Earth ride. Kind of has that. But if you're doing something that needs like a really nice like stick definition thing to it, this is the cymbal that goes.
A little bit of a Jack DeJohnette thing.
Very much so, yeah. That goes up.
Awesome.
I also have this one here. It's a duo ride, hand hammered 22, kind of thing. You know, if I'm doing some moody East Nashville stuff. Oh, that's fun. I didn't know this was even here. I thought this was somewhere else. This is a 19. So this cymbal, this one, and the two out there.
Yeah.
They're kind of a family.
Okay.
And there's a set of hi-hats also. There's 16 and a half hi-hats that go with it that aren't here. I don't know where they are actually. But this is just a sizzle cymbal, because every now and then people need some rain, as they call it.
Yeah. Hey, man, interpreting what they're saying.
And here's at 12.
Okay.
This is good for if you're making drum loops on the fly. This is a good one here. But it's a cool kick drum thing. I just kind of put it up here and do like that with my fingers.
So I know you're using those, like, you're going to Florida next week, and you're doing the Songwriter Festival, and you're going to walk up with a brush and that and do your thing.
Yeah.
How often are you using that headed tambourine in all the different ways in recording?
So it's funny because I did my buddy Adam Oder did a record for this guy named Kyle Park, and they were doing an acoustic version of that record also, and they were like, oh yeah, we kind of want like a cajon or it's a shaker, blah blah blah, and I was like, man, I have a better idea. What if we use I called the magic tambourine. I said, what if we use the magic tambourine? And they're like, what's that sound like? And so it may transfer or not, but like basically it's right. And then sometimes I'll just go and then go back and just place the loop.
Yep.
But a lot of times just play it, you know, which is really, really fun.
I feel like any type of frame drum is often overlooked. It just doesn't look big, but under the microphone.
On the microphones, yeah. I carry a D6 and an extra one of these AKG condensers, which I forgot the name of it. I had it forever. I got it from Ben Jackson, actually. But I carry both of those, and
we're good.
They just go in my backpack, which is great.
That's great. Well, let's talk about microphones here.
So
421s on the toms. Okay.
I forget what these ribbon mics are. These are my room mics here.
Okay, you got one there.
And one there.
And one down here.
Yep. So those are my room mics, and I run them through the Ocean Wave room plugin.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
And you're printing it that way?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And so basically you have that, and then...
Have you ever had any pushback on like, man, just give it to me the way your room is, or
nope.
No one's asking? Great.
It's like the way to go. Everybody.
And who makes that Ocean? Is that Universal Audio?
Yeah, UA, yeah.
Okay.
Universal Audio makes that, yep. And then I have a Telefreak right here, which is a Solomon telephone mic.
Yes.
Which is way cool because basically it gives especially if you compress it, it gives a different vibe for recording. And sometimes, as of recently, I've used it to make loops. So if someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about making loops, putting loops on this," and I'm playing drums, I go, "Well, I'm just gonna play drums, and then I'll go back and just label that as loop, and then you can." Mess with it. So it's got a kind of a lo-fi sound already.
Yeah.
So you can go back in and compress it and do whatever you want to do it to it. And then you have a loop that doesn't clash with the drums, especially if you want to keep the drums organic. And you want to keep it organic, but you want to have a loop. And you don't want to like completely grid it. Sorry. You can use that as a thing. So like in the verses, you can use just that. And then the chorus.
And I feel like Solomon, I mean, their subwoofers are great.
Yeah.
Very affordable.
There, yep. Have one right there. I have 5 of those things.
You just need one, man. You just need one.
I love them.
I need 2. I have 1. But I feel like they make things very accessible.
They're way cool. They're so nice and very easy to deal with.
Yeah.
In the kick drum, I have an Aventone Mundo on the inside kick, which you probably can't see. But,
okay. We got a lot of gobos.
Yeah.
Things
Thanks
kind of
to
making
Lester, man. Lester just revamping his place and was like, "Hey, man, I got a bunch of stuff." I was like, "Thanks, buddy." And then I have a Artesia condenser on the outside, and they are like this company. They're based in California. The stuff comes from overseas, but it's geared towards singer-songwriters. So they make stuff where you can do production, like if you're like building your own demos. So they have a pack. A backpack that comes with a interface, which is that right there. You'll see next to that photo of little.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes the interface, and then behind it comes the keyboard, which is also behind her. Headphones, which I don't know what they are,
That's
and then
great.
it comes with that microphone,
Okay.
which I really liked. So I called them up and I said, "Man, I really like these microphones. Can I get some more of them?" And they're like, "How many do you need?" And I was like, 10. And they're like, "No problem." So, at one point in time, everything I had was that microphone. I had a D6 inside the kick drum, that on the outside. I had those on the toms.
Yeah.
Bottom snare, which I have on the bottom snare. Hi-hat.
You still have that on the bottom?
Yep, still have on the bottom snare.
Okay.
Hi-hat, and then I had it for overheads also. And it sounded great. It worked well. And then, but I was having some issues because I didn't treat the ceiling. I didn't do anything to the ceiling. It's still whatever. But I was having some issues, and I really wanted the drums to be a bit more tight sounding because I really like the way Ashtone's drums sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was watching a thing with Sean Fichter, and Sean had a stereo ribbon mic as an overhead, which is great because it's always in phase. So I did the same thing. That's a golden age. I don't know the model number because I'm kind of dumb like that. But when I got that changed everything in my life. It really put everything together, if that makes any sense. And it's higher up than normal. Normally I have it about right here. Because I'm not, one of the cool things about this room or just in general and recording is that, and especially after leaving the Big and Rich thing, is I play a lot lighter.
Okay.
And so the pre's are able to do their thing.
Yes.
Joey Warnker does a really good job of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the loudest I play, I mean, I'm. I don't play much louder than that. And I have the pre's kind of cranked. It's been very interesting because I've had to readjust how I play drums.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, before I was just like, yeah, just like force, and now it's like, oh, you can still play. I mean, this is an example, but you can still play Saber Horse Rider Cowboy. I don't have to, like I was before. I can, especially here,
Right.
in the attitude, you can still give it some things, but you don't have to play as hard.
Well, so many of our heroes know how to bring energy at low volumes.
Exactly, and that's that's one of the things I love. Like, I've been watching some clips of Joey Warnker. I've been watching a lot of Steve Gadd lately. Nardo Michael Walden. I've been watching a bunch of stuff of people just watching them track in the studio in Keltner and seeing how their touch, not I'm gonna say touch and not attack of the drum. Like I feel there's a difference between attack and then touch. Attack is something that we can all do. Touch is all personal, and so their touch on the drums. You know, when you see Gad, he's not. He's not. He's. And you go, oh, that's Steve Gadd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
because the touch of the drum. But yeah, once I got this, it was cool. And then when we put the gobos in, that was great. I have one normally right here too. Sometimes it kind of by default, it doesn't really. It's just there because it's an extra piece, but it does do a thing, and it does help out with the snare drum. I also have a snare skirt somewhere that I'll use every now and then.
But this Star Wars looking thing,
The pile is great. Yeah, it helps to keep. Since I'm doing my ride cymbal here, it keeps the ride cymbal out of the snare drum, keeps the tom out. Hi-hats. It's not proof, it's not
right.
It's
and
not
what microphone do you have inside there?
It's a Sennheiser something 4. I can't remember the name of it. But it's a vocal mic that they made to basically shield out stuff. It was made in mind for Billie Eilish because she sings so soft.
Oh.
So it's for soft singers. So it's supposed to like kind of get rid of some of the background stuff that's not certain frequencies. Which cymbals are in that frequency that people try to always want to get out. So what better to have than that microphone with this? 57s are obviously fantastic and I love them, but for this room, this does great. And I should even go back to say that everything I have is based off this room. It's like
super important to understand what you're talking about. What say that again, please.
So originally, when I first started tracking in here, I only played 12-inch snare drums. So I had 4 12-inch snare drums tuned differently. Even the ballad snare drum, the fat drum, was a 12x5, the Binga drum. And because a lot of it came from I was still playing with Big and Rich and still doing very, very loud volume things. So when I was coming here, I was still kind of spanking them a bit more than I am now. And I learned that drum size worked really, really well in this room, and no one knew what size it was. Like, someone would be like, oh man, nice 12-inch drum, buddy. You didn't know what it was. That drum sounds great. Don't know what it is. It sounds great. And that's the goal,
Yeah.
You want to just be appropriate for what you're doing. Once I started playing lighter and moved, the drums were also facing this way at one point in time. Once I moved the drums this way and started playing a little lighter, I could actually start playing full size. I felt more comfortable playing full size snare drums, which some of them are out. Actually, some of them are at Ocean Way. Right now, my buddy Lamar is borrowing some of the snare drums for a thing he's doing. But normally I keep about 8 to 9 snare drums here.
Okay.
This one usually goes up for the fat stuff. I have a 4x14 Nick Lover Brass 1920s Ludwig that Greg Morrow found for me. I love that. That's probably my favorite snare drum. Then this one, my first snare drum that I have, and then the Eddie drums. Those are the 4 that get used quite a bit. And then I have a 7-inch. I have a 7x12 here at the bottom. That one gets used a lot.
The Pearl?
Yep, the Pearl. Mm-hmm. And then there's a Gretsch Mark Schulman drum that I use for just weird stuff. It's just tuned wonky. But that 7x14 belonged to Martin Parker, who used to play drums for Vince Gill and Patty Loveless, and he passed away a few years ago. But he was a friend, so I was able to get that drum, which is really nice. So I had that. But yeah, you just see the shelves are empty because the drums are... There's no drums.
Well, that's we didn't want to see that. No, because they're working, man. They're out working. Yeah. And are you monitoring stuff from here?
Yeah. So so basically, because I'm not over there, I have I can use this as a controller. This is just I found this for $100.
I have one of these. I have one of these just sitting there. I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, I still have stuff on it and I want to keep
them.
You
do just screen share. So like if your stuff's not, if your computer and things aren't by the kit, you just do screen share. So I'm able to do that from here.
I'm doing that when I get home. I'm doing that when I get home because I was using the iPad and using Logic Remote, and it was fine.
Oh yeah.
But this is even better.
Yeah, let me.
That will clear up some space. No, that's a great idea. So kind of repurposing the whole, old computers now.
The old computer.
In this day and age, we all have an old computer. We all have an old
computer.
Yeah.
Old computer, and that was a friend from high school, which is really bizarre. That was in my background. But yeah, so if you can see it, you can come over now if you want to. But I can control everything from here now, which is really cool.
Okay.
Great. So like,
I'm learning. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's like it works out pretty well. And I can sit here and do stuff, or I can sit over there. Usually, what I like to do is track from here.
Totally.
And then once I get it down, and then I move over to
the workstation
the
here.
Workstation, yeah.
Tell us about this song you're working on, man.
So this was fun when I got from Edwin McCain. He wanted some drums on this track, and so I did it. And I played you a little bit of it earlier. It's not out yet, but and then if you want to hear,
that snare sounds great. Yeah, go to that part, man. We'll fly that shit in there.
To the solo section eventually if I can figure out. That's what the funny part about this.
Let's see what we have here. Oh, WA412. Are you running? What are you running in the WA412 or anything?
I have
on the bottom here.
What's in there? Oh, the toms are there. Toms.
Okay.
And then so is the. Oh shit! What's in there? Toms are in there.
So you've got a Behringer interface.
Oh, so yeah, the Behringer has the outside kick, and it has bottom snare drum and hi hat, and then yeah, and the warm. I have the toms. I have the telephone mic.
Yeah.
And there's something else that goes in there. Or maybe there's an extra. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I'm running the toms through the WA412, and then...
I think that's right. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. That has... Sorry, I like my brain. That has the toms and the room mics.
Okay.
Are going through that. That's right. And then the Behringer has the outside bottom and then hi-hat. Because there's like... There's no need to have super expensive pre's. For me, to have like the super expensive stuff on there. And then the UA stuff is kick, snare, overheads.
Okay.
So, and then I guess I use the...
So you've got, I mean, I'm seeing two interfaces here, but then, this on top. There's the other four.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So 4 there.
Yeah,
we got
you expand
8.
it. Yeah.
And 4 there. So
what happens is, I'm using 12. What I'm doing is I'm using the Behringer to expand from the UA, and then it also houses 4 channels for the for the warm.
Yes.
So we can do that. Yeah. I was like, I don't know the technical way to say that, but that's how that works.
For sure. For sure. And are you? And we talked about printing. So you've got the Ocean Way.
Yeah.
Plug-in.
If you want to hear that.
That you're using on the room mics?
Yes.
And anything else that you're printing?
Nope, everything else is just flat. Okay. There's a little bit of compression on the snare drum, and the kick drum has a little bit of an EQ, which is fine because it just sounds the way it is, but no verb. I'm not printing any no verbs or anything like that. So like solo, here we go. So this will be the room mics if you want to hear those. Where are we at here?
Oh, come on, man. Come on, man.
So
And they're like, yes,
yeah.
yes, please.
Yeah, so that works. But yeah, man, so that's kind of what I have. And I have the Artesia monitors. I forget the model number, but they're like a 5-inch, I think is what they are.
They sound great.
I love them. They do have an updated version that they are sending me. I was told, which I'm really excited about. Because I just partnered with a different thing, and so I have that. And what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna set up. As goofy as this is, I'm gonna set up a little percussion station, like right here.
Yeah.
So that I can track more. Because right now, what happens is when I have to do percussion stuff, I just move over, or I'm very lazy, so sometimes I'll just do this. And then I just play tambourine right here.
But if you can get set up, especially with all these extra mics and stuff,
extra mics and stuff right there.
Then if somebody's like, dude, everything's great.
I found extra brushes. I was looking for these.
Come
All
on,
right, that's
man.
what they are. All right, cool.
I'm here to help you discover things. I mean,
I literally was like, what happened to those?
The idea of having a percussion station,
It's great.
I think is great. And also, if you don't have 110% approval on a track, it's possible you'll need to go back.
Exactly. And so one of the things I do is I tape, I usually videotape every session, even if it's not the take. I will videotape it. One, just to include people so they can see the process, because some people like to see it. And then the other thing is if I have to recall sounds. And I can't remember what I use, because I've done this before where I tracked something, and I was using the concert toms, so the 13, 14-inch concert toms, and then I had whatever snare drum, I can't remember. But then I went back to redo it, and then realized I was like, man, this snare drum sounds different. What's going on? I was like, fucking doing this whole thing. I was like, is this still not happening? So then I removed the toms, put those toms back on. Boom, there it was.
The snare sound was being affected.
Yeah, because they're individual channels for the sake of, hi-fi listening, but the drum set is one instrument. You know what I mean? Like you just heard like the room mics, where like they're picking up everything, not just one thing. Obviously, some things more than others, but they're picking up everything. And one of the keys to being a recording drummer or session drummer is learning how to mix yourself, knowing like what how to make everything sound as
with your body. You're not talking about mixing behind the console.
No.
You're talking about while you're playing.
Knowing like where things need to sit. So if you're playing a brush thing, you don't need to slam the kick drum. You know what I mean? You just do a thing. You're there. And if you're doing a thing where you're slamming a snare drum, you can't play the kick drum super light. You know what I mean? One of the things that I do, and it's something from watching Eddie Bears that I loved, is the way he plays the hi-hat. Because I say that he dances around the hi-hat. Because when you hear him play, you're like, man, he is killing it on the hi-hat. And he's not just going, or, he's doing some kind of tasteful things. And it was like, wow, like, how are they getting that in the mix? And it's like, well, he's not killing the hi-hat. He's playing pretty soft on the hi-hat, even though he's slamming everything else. But it's so that they could use this to get the hi-hat up, and the hi-hat is not bleeding into everything else. And that's just smart. Sure. In my opinion, that's just smart playing. Especially when you know that thing gets picked up by every microphone.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
cymbals can kill a mix.
Cymbals can kill a mix. And that's one of the things I've learned from talking to other dudes. Like, when I was putting this whole thing together, which is now 10 years now, which is so weird. But I Ben Jackson, Chris McHugh, Ben Caesar, Lester Estelle, Marcus, Miles McPherson. There's a couple engineers that helped me out also. I talked to them about what I need to do to like get up to par with guys who had spent like I probably have $10,000-$15,000 into this, if not more, probably more. If it wasn't for like some sponsorship stuff, I would probably be really, really broke. But talking to those guys, I learned what to try, what to get, how to do it, and all that stuff, and it was great. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, this is what you need to do, and like, and like just having this source of information that you can just go to, like, hey friend, what do I need? you know what I mean?
Well, you have that natural ability, but also it's a good reminder that you don't have to be Keio Stroud to reach out to your friends, your peers, even to players that you may not know. People love to talk. Drummers are the best.
They will help you out. And you know, and what's fun is, what's even cool is that engineers, man. Talking to engineers about how to get certain things.
Because they're engineers. They love talking.
They love talking too. They love, you know, they're like, oh, you should try this. And so now my new fun thing to do is talk to engineers about drum sounds and drum placements and miking and because I have my own, you know, Bernard Purdy is a great example. Love him, hate him, love him. You know, I love him to death. But he's a good example of a guy who has done a lot of recordings and knows what works well with the way he plays drums. Mm-hmm. Even though an engineer may have an idea of what they want to do, he can be like, hey, I like this. And a good example is that when he did the Alan Jackson record, which I love, he's one of the songs is called Like Red on a Rose. I'm not sure if you ever heard that song or not.
I think I have.
I will play it for you a bit.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But Bernard came in and he said, I like wild, but overheads underneath the cymbals, kick drum mic, one in front, one right here.
Yes, back by the beater.
By the beater. Toms were mic'd underneath. But double-headed though, underneath. And the same thing and the snare drum was mic'd off to the side. And the story that I heard from the engineer, he said, man, he goes, I was just like, this cannot sound good. And he said, man, we're gonna have all kinds of phasing issues, and because of the way the microphones are, Bernard said, I created phase. But he said when Bernard sat down and played drums, he was like, oh, that's Bernard Purdy. Mm-hmm. Like, that guy knows how to get the sound that sounds like him, which is why we hired him. We didn't hire Bernard Purdy to sound like someone else. We didn't hire him, you know, he was in an Alan Jackson record, but we didn't hire him to sound like Eddie. We didn't hire him to sound like Paul. We didn't hire him to sound like McHugh or Keltner. We hired him because he does a thing.
Right.
And he knows how to get that.
His sound is extended to mic placement. Mic placement. Not sticks and head choices, but all those other things beyond.
Which is big, you know. I mean, obviously, mic choices are huge. And I feel like I've really come to a thing with, I really like, the 421s on the toms are very, very nice. I really like them. For a while, I used a D2 on the rack tom, the D6 on the floor tom, which I really liked. But that kind of came from my live playing, which I liked that thing. But to me, the 421s really, really work well. I'm getting some mini 421s coming up soon because I kind of want to get, because my place is small, I want to get rid of some of the stands that I have. Kind of like this, you know, where I've combined a thing here. I want to get rid of the stands and have clip-on mics for the toms.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't change them out. I mean, I don't change them out that often. So, especially right now, like, I'm in love with this kit. Like, I don't know. There's something about this kit that I'm ecstatic about. I just love it. And I guess because it's very versatile. Like, the snare drum is not the one that's always up. The one that usually goes up is the 4x14 20s nickel over brass. That is like the one. That is like that one or that Steve Ferroni. But that was for home. That was great. That's what you hear on that track.
Okay, great.
There. And then like, let's see if I can find this. I just did a thing. I was doing some random loops for who was I doing that for? Somebody. Just doing some random loops for a project. And oh yeah, here it is. Never mind me playing. I did end up kind of sound replacing the snare drum a little bit because I wanted to be able to affect the snare drum away from the thing, but this is kind of interesting. All right, screwed up.
You got the video connected.
Yeah. getting a weird, funky thing from the I was getting a weird, funky overtone from the snare drum. I was using a 6.5 by 14 inch, actually sonar drums. What that is. It had a weird note thing, and I didn't realize until after I was done. So I layered, I mixed a sample in with it on that one, but it's mostly just to get rid of the overtone thing. When that is done doing it, so like stop mode. That's gonna keep going for a while. But anyway, but those are the concert songs which I absolutely love.
Sweet.
They have that nice vibey thing. Mm-hmm. We were, I was hitting up my buddy Adam Oder about some loops and samples and stuff like that, and he was like, "Man, like, you have anything that you're working on?" I was like, "Well, check this out," you know. And so I sent him this. But this is like, that's a sample.
Right? Yeah.
But it's just basically to cover up the overtone of the thingy there. But, and then the actual snare is right here, maybe. Yeah. So, and then you take those two and you combine them together.
Sure. Yeah, and it's great. And Logic reads the waves, and you can set the threshold of the sample, and so it's really great.
So yeah,
that sounds, man, that's great.
But that's kind of, you know, that, and then another quick one here. Sorry, I don't want to take up too much of your time with this.
Dude, this is great. I appreciate it.
Over the holidays, I was just trying to do different things and had some time off just to try some different things. And once again, I had the concert times up and I videotaped myself playing. But this is the 4x14. And it's really, really cool. I'm replacing on that. That is the drum. So what I'm doing was talking about the loop thing.
Yeah.
So I made a loop from that, which is just the crotch mic.
Crotch mic in there, and you got a couple things running there.
Yeah.
Compressor and channel.
So like that's it with nothing on it, which is very.
That's doable too, man.
Yeah. So what I end up doing is compress.
Sure.
And then, you know,
like a major thing.
So like. Had a little thing, you know, underneath it. But yeah, it's kind of cool and weird, but that snare drum sounds so good.
It does, man.
I'm just such a fan. And then the room, I hear that in the room, just like.
I mean, you get so many options.
Yeah. So, and it's cool because, like, if you want to have, you know, I'm trying to, let's just get back to this, sorry. I don't know why that click is there. So let's just try this real fast. So one of the cool things I like to do is go, how important are room mics? Do you really need them? No, you don't need them per se, but they are cool. And in this case, so I have the crotch right there, and then I have another crotch here. I'll just mute those. So this would be the drums without that, just dry. And even within the track, you hear it like, right? Still sounds fine. But... And then you add the crotch mic into it. Same thing again, right? Without the music, alright. Over mic. And then you have your mic in.
Yeah. And are you using that Ocean Way?
Yeah.
Ocean Way plugin?
That's it.
And is there any positioning on these mics that's special? It looks like they're pointing down, or are they...
I got this from Miles. He did this for a while. So what you do is you put them here. Obviously, they're gained way down, right there.
Right, because it's so close.
And then you put the plug in, and then you, I don't know. This sounds terrible. I don't know how to do this, but there's a time delay you put on it. So there's a delay on the, so it's not so exact. So it sounds like it's being picked up from further away.
I understand.
So when you even look at the wave files here, you'll notice that like they're a little behind. So say that's it, right? So that's the deal, and that's just a little behind it.
Yeah.
To give it that vibe. So
yeah, because it's when the sound hits that, yeah.
So it's it's not hitting it at the same time, so it's a little delayed, but yeah. So do that, and yeah, it's kind of fun. But
man, this is a lot of information. It's a lot of information. I appreciate it. It's so cool, man. And I think there's a lot to take away. One thing I think is important for people to take away is like you've got a bedroom-sized room, and you're making it work.
Yeah,
it sounds amazing, and there's a couple.
And I stole that from Sean Pelton. He. I hope you get to do one with him.
Did
because and tell him that Keio stole everything from you. But he was one of the first guys to do kind of the home studio thing, and he has one in his place in Manhattan, which is bizarre. But he was the first guy I saw trying to emulate a room. That was before the UA plugins and all that stuff happened. He was doing it with just reverbs and stuff like that and mic placement. And so a lot of what I have here, I took from him. If that makes any sense.
I think it's just it's in learning from people that are doing it and reaching out and having one-on-one conversations whenever possible.
It's way cool, and then I have some fun, obviously there's Lexi and there's my daughter Ava over there just kind of hanging out.
I love it, man. Yeah, man, I do
keeps the inspiration going. My friend painted that. So, I wasn't a big art person, but all of a sudden, I just
you're being gifted art. This is great, man. This is great.
Paintings and photos everywhere.
Awesome. Keio, thanks, man.
Yes, get out. No,
It's the real Keio.
Yeah, it's the real.
He seems really nice.
He seems really nice. He's an asshole. But yeah, man, it's kind of fun.
Okay.
Oh, that's still okay. Yeah, man. So that's my place, man. You see it, and obviously you can tell the difference in the treatment in here and then coming out here has a bit more live. And there's a bit more dead.
Yeah.
But
it works.
Yeah, man, it's kind of cool. It works, and I don't want to move. So I'm.
No. When we chatted 9 years ago, you were here. So why not?
I was here, and I said, remember, I was like, I don't want any drums in my place. Remember, I was like, I don't want drums here at all. Remember, that room was empty. It was just an empty room. I think there was some concert toms stacked up with a cowboy hat on it.
Yes.
And then I was like,
well, it's good, but I'm glad we did this when we did because it's good to catch up and kind of see how things are changing.
See the natural progression of Keio here, which is
that's right.
And that thing of just drums and weird stuff. There's you know, basically what's cool is because I live by myself, is that everything can, at some point in time, I can put a microphone anywhere. I can, you know, I had, one time I had a microphone in the bathroom. That was kind of fun. That was kind of a weird, you know, room mic. I've had mics out here. Yeah, it's kind of goofy in some ways where like you just...
It works, man.
It works, and it just once again, it's just me, especially if I'm working on something by myself. It's just me working by myself, so therefore I can take my time. I can use what I want to use. I can wear what I want to wear. Suspect. Usually put on clothes because I am filming stuff. But you know, but it kind of works, and then just being able to just like have an off day and wanting to experiment with stuff is really, really nice. Just like, oh man, like what would a bottle sound like, and what's the best whiskey bottle? Which one, you know, what track's great? This is a fantastic whiskey bottle for tracking. I just watch this dude. It's like
Uncle Nearest. Come on, man.
It's all because, you know. So
it's just basically a glass cowbell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
So, and then I have, I'd show you this, you'll laugh, but I have a case of them, same bottle, different brand, but I do travel with these, so I have a little case for them. Oh, there's only one, but there's another one in there, but they used to have water in them, and so they're different pitched. Mm-hmm. So it had different... so they just fit my thing here, which is really weird when you go to carry these on, because you can't check them because they'll break. But you carry them on, like, you know, if I'm going to do a session.
Yes, sir, you can't, they're empty.
They're empty,
They're empty, bro.
So you take them and you just fill them up with water, and the pitch will change. Between that and then I have this flask.
Oh my good
that
Lord.
Also operates as a nice... So, just sounds, man.
I just love how you can just like reach out and grab a stick. The stick is there. Yeah.
There's sticks everywhere, man.
Yeah, I love it. All right, man, I'm gonna cut you.
All right, dude.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thanks for sharing your space.
Thanks for coming.
And your tricks and all the things. It's great.
I'm storing away my liquor bottles.
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.